Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world. Talk about the team that the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. So the bad guys lose 22-19 to the San Francisco 49ers. I think there was a lot to take from this game. A lot of good, a lot not so good. But I think a lot of the issues that needed to be cleaned up from the first game got cleaned up in the second game. And there were some things that kind of looked pretty much the same from one game to the other. And we're going to get to all that. I make this thing happen because of you guys. Liking, commenting, subscribing, all that stuff really does help this channel. So if you can do that for me, that would be great. We also have memberships open. The Shield Society is up and running. It's $4.99 a month for the preseason. I had a watch party where I watched the game with you. I'm not constantly talking, but I give my analysis after plays and things that I'm thinking of and stuff like that. So it's not just me like a show where I'm constantly talking. I'm watching the game with you guys. So also on top of that, with super chats, I give you guys the opportunity. I'm going to send you guys the links and give you guys the opportunity to join the show with me. So if you guys are down with that, that'd be kind of cool. It's only $4.99 a month. It starts when the regular season starts. The first two or the second and third preseason game, it's freebies. You get to watch along with me, absolutely free. But those watch along parties are for members only. The Shield Society, members only, like the jackets. And yeah, man, I want to see you guys there. Okay, so let's get to let's look at the penthouse view, and then we'll get down to the more granular level. I used to work with a guy. He was like a corporate bigwig, and he used to always say, "Let's break this down to the granular level." And then he got fired for sending a Brett Favre to one of the girls that I work with. Kind of weird. Anyway, so 22-19, offense really sputtered in the second half. Aiden O'Connell just didn't look good, man. Didn't look good overall. Let's see, we only had 18 first downs to 49ers 24 first downs. Third down efficiency, we were 9 for 16, which is okay. It's all right. It's like 2 out of 3. Third down efficiency, we were really good defensively. The 49ers were only 3 for 11, but the kicker on that is they're actually 6 for 11 because they were 3 for 3 on fourth down. So those 3 of those misses on third down became makes on fourth down. So if you take a look at it, I'll put it all together. They were 6 for 11, which is no bueno as far as drives go. Total yards, we got outgained 348 to 271. A lot of that was because of the Aiden O'Connell funk in the middle of the game. Total drives, we only had 1 less total drive. Yards per play, 5.3 for the Niners, 4.5 for the bad guys. 194 yards passing, 77 yards rushing. We actually outrushed them on less attempts. We only gave up 2.3 yards rushing. Now, we didn't go up against Christian McCaffrey, okay? But it still is a victory over what happened last week. In the red zone, we were only 1 for 3. Penalties really killed us. We had 7 penalties for 64 yards. That just can't happen. We had 2 turnovers. Aiden O'Connell had another turnover, another pick. And then Cam Miller had a back-breaking turnover at the end, allowing the 49ers the opportunity to get into field goal range. But he's just trying to make a play. He's a rookie. I'm not excusing the play because it was not a good throw. But ultimately, if you don't give a guy a lot of opportunity to play, he has to work through all those things. Time of possession, 32-24 for the Niners, 27-36 for the bad guys. Let's take a peek at the box scores really quick to get all this stuff out of the way. Aiden O'Connell, 15 for 23 for 138 yards, 63 passer rating. He had another pick. Just didn't play all that well. Cam Miller, rougher game today than he had against a better defense in the Niners, and just a more difficult situation with those last plays at the end. He was 2 for 6 for 25 yards and an interception. Now, bright spots. Ashton Genty, 7 carries for 33 yards, 4.7 average, and his first touchdown. He had a long of 13. I like Chris Collier, man. He's looking good. 4 for 26 yards, 6.5-yard average. Raheem Mostert chipped in 3 for 9 for 3-yard average. And Zamir White had a carry. A couple other guys had a little carries here and then, not really to write home about. We're looking at here, Carter Runyon making a late push. Look, man, I like Ian Thomas. I think he's a guy that can really work for this offense, but you can't keep dropping passes, dude. He's been dropping passes left and right lately. He dropped a couple of passes yesterday in the joint practice, or the other day in the joint practice. He dropped another pass today when he was wide open. You just can't have that. And Carter Runyon goes out there, gets 2 catches for 29 yards, a couple of first downs. Like, what do you want? This dude's out there making plays, and if you're out there, I mean, you can practice great. You could be one of the best practice players. And but if you go on the game and it's not the same thing, I mean, you got to go with who's over there making the plays for you during the game. Let's see who we got in here. Mark Salter. Yes, salute, brother. RNJ podcast. Yeah, man. Good to see you, bro. I was very impressed with Jack Besh. I think the catches that he had were Jack Besh type contested, muscly, getting open, quicker than fast, but still has enough speed to get downfield catches. Brock Bauer showed that he's a freaking stud. Jack Besh did have a miscue, a slight overthrow off of his fingertips. That would have been a nice catch for him to have. I'm very impressed with what Dante Thornton does to defenses when he's out there. He didn't record a stat today, but that's not the big story. The big story is he was wide open again, and it was overthrown just a touch. We got to start connecting with this guy. He was underthrown when he was wide open for a walk-in touchdown last week. He was overthrown this week by Geno Smith on a walk-in touchdown, and he just creates a lot of uncertainty in the opposing secondary. I really like what Dante Thornton's been doing, and he just needs to stay out there more and get more reps. If the Raiders think that they know what they have in him and he doesn't need to get a ton of reps, I'm perfectly fine with him being out there only with the first team. As far as the defense goes, Chris Smith really had a nice game. He had 7 tackles, 7 solo. Tommy Eichenberg had a lot of stats. He had 7 tackles, but he really had a couple of really bad plays out there. So Tommy Eichenberg, he gets himself in position, but he also gets himself out of position quite a bit. He got run over at the goal line on a funnel play. You're funneled right into the running back, and he just got trucked into the end zone. You just can't have that. Big series, I believe it was, to start the second half by Chris Smith and by Charles Snowden. Charles Snowden had 2 tackles for loss. His big deal last season was he was a really good pass rusher, but he needed some work against the run. I think he played much better against the run in this game. He did a really nice job. Andre Carter with a nice move for a sack. Also, you had Adam Butler tackle for loss. Maxx Crosby a nice tackle for loss. JJ Pegues got in there with Michael Barrett and got a half a sack each. And Jeremy Chin with a really nice diving interception. As far as returns go, Tommy Malott got his hands on the ball and just scampered it for 42 yards on a return. Chris Collier had one for 32 yards. Dylan Lobby had one for 27. Sixer McCormick, 27. And Zamir White, 26. Overall, we had a 30-yard average on return, so that's nice there. Daniel Carlson, perfect, 4 for 4 on field goals, 1 for 1 on extra points. And AJ Cole had 1 punt for 47 yards. All right, now that that's out of the way, we could talk about the actual game and what happened. I am encouraged by the improvement of the offensive line. The offensive line was able to block much better this game, especially run blocking, to allow Ashton Jeanty to show what he can do. He wasn't jumping around. He was given the opportunity to run downhill. And he primarily ran between the tackles, a lot of power, and he looked good. He looked really good. What we're looking at here is for improvement. We saw what we saw last week. Okay, now what do we see this week? That was a huge improvement week over week. One thing that didn't really improve week over week was the secondary. Now, the tackling improved in spots. Chris Smith was one of the only guys in the secondary who really attacked the offensive lineman to the spot. When you have an offensive lineman on those stretch plays, they're going out and they're trying to just stretch the defense out horizontally to give them a chance to kind of hit a seam. If you're in the secondary, if you're a corner or a safety, you can't sit back and wait for an offensive lineman to try to block you. They're bigger than you. They're going to get in your way. You have to use your speed and your elusiveness to knife through and attack and beat the offensive lineman to the spot to make tackles. And Chris Smith did that on a big play. That's one thing that needs to change. Another thing that needs to change is just the overall coverage. It was very loose coverage in the secondary. I understand that the team had a need at defensive tackle, and I'm a very big Thomas Booker fan. I thought he played very well again this game. But you're giving away a guy that's young, that's been in your system for a couple of years, that has some continuity with the players out there in Ja'Cory Bennett. And the guys that you have replacing him, like Sam Webb, looked lost. Greedy Vance didn't do a great job today. Darian Porter didn't start. That was Caillou Blue Kelly, and who did fine. But Darian Porter gets in there, and just we need to have better coverage down the field. It's just not something that it's going to cut it when it comes to the regular season. R&J Podcast. Soto, what do you think about the secondary? Do we need a vet? I think we need a vet. I think we need somebody that we can count on. I also think we need to call the game a little bit different. I think these guys are out there just playing soft, and it doesn't match up to what we want to do up in the front. If we're playing really big pockets and big, soft zone, if we're hurrying the offense, if we're hurrying the quarterback, he's going to want to let that ball go quickly. You need to have these guys up and tight on these receivers so they can't just – a lot of these guys go out there and just turn around and they're wide open. They don't even have to really run a route. And we got to stop that. Marlon, yeah, man, DCAM, he was one of the guys I was talking about. You can't just sit back and wait for an offensive lineman to block you. You got to go ahead and attack. You got to get in there. And that's one thing I'm very concerned with the secondary. And if it was one thing, if they were just knifing tacklers and they were getting tackles for loss and they were really stout in the run game and stuff like that, but they were getting beat, okay, they're doing one thing well, let's work on the other. They're really not doing much of anything really well. We had a second interception in 2 games, which is great, but, you had a very poorly played ball by Devin White. He bit on the curl. I believe it was a curl route by George Kittle, which would have been a 5-yard gain. He just runs up and tackles him. He bites on that and allows the pass to go over his head for a 21-yard gain on 3rd and 18. That's a veteran. That's inexcusable. You need to know the situation and know that 5-yard completion doesn't mean anything. You're playing sticks defense at that time. You're playing back at the sticks and keeping everything in front of you. If you're going to jump routes, you better be right, because if you're wrong, you're leaving someone open behind you, and that's exactly what happened. We need to get more physical. We need to get a lot more physical in the secondary. Much more physical. I think the defensive line, Jonah Laulu, he really stepped up his game. Thomas Booker, he stepped up like he usually does. Adam Butler got in there for a tackle for loss. The defensive line, the edges were in the backfield creating havoc, pressuring Brock Purdy. It's just whenever he was pressured, he was able to find a guy because we were playing such loose zone in the back. So we need to make sure we get that continuity in check. These defensive calls need to get a lot more tightened up because the secondary does not look very good. As far as the offensive line, there was some nice blocks. The nice combo blocks by Meredith and Jackson Powers Johnson. If you haven't seen it already, I have a video talking about the whole Meredith Jackson Powers Johnson center right guard dynamic. And it's pretty much what I thought it was. Now, I didn't really speak on it because I learned my lesson, okay? I had some pretty strong opinions about a previous quarterback of ours. And whenever I shared those opinions, I got absolutely murdered. I mean, murdered. And I'm trying to leave that type of criticism for the professionals. That's why I was very relieved that Richie Incognito went in on the Raiders podcast, and he was able to talk about that situation and what was the issue with Jackson Powers Johnson. Basically, he's not consistent. His technique needs to get better. He's a mauler. He wants to go out there and just be a brute. Unfortunately, at the center position, you need to have better technique than that. Even in the guard position, you need to have better technique. It's great to want to go out there and take somebody's head off, but unfortunately, you can't do that every single down in the NFL. And that was an issue that Richie Incognito, having played center and guard in the NFL, was what really spoke of. And he was very direct at the very end of the interview. He said, Jackson Powers Johnson needs to grow up, needs to study the playbook, needs to be a technician, and needs to be more consistent. Because Richie Incognito said it himself. He said, you can do everything right as an offensive lineman and still lose the rep because these players in the NFL are so good. You have to maximize your opportunities. You have to maximize your abilities. Even now that I'm talking poorly about Jackson Powers Johnson, and I'm not even doing it. I'm just talking about what Richie Incognito said. I'm losing viewers. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I don't really want to get into that type of stuff with players that are really popular, even if I could be right, even if I do have a point, because some people just don't want to hear it. So he's still starting. He's a starting right guard as of right now. And I'm not closing the book on Jackson Powers Johnson being a center, but he does need to improve, per Richie Incognito, on his technique and consistency. Now, I was very encouraged by the improvement by Ashton Genty. He looked a little bit more under control, a little calmer. He caught a pass. He did. You got to not try to run over everybody. He ran over a guy on his long run, which was sweet. But he needs to, be a little bit more elusive out there in open field and not try to truck everybody. Recently, Marshawn Lynch was on the Rich Eisen show, who was guest hosted by O'Shea Jackson Jr., who's Ice Cube's son, and he talked a little bit about what his advice was to Ashton Genty. Let's take a listen to that.
Just played a clip from Ashton. Now, him giving you love, you giving him advice. What do you tell, young players like him, and how excited are you for him to be on the Raiders?
I'm gonna start with him being on the Raiders. Like, I know he in a good situation. I know that he gonna get opportunities, and I mean, as a runner in this league, that's all you want. Opportunities for to be able to help your team be successful. Right. And from having conversations with him, I know that he like to play football, and that's gonna be big over there because Pete, I know for sure gonna make sure that he put the ball in his hand, so he gonna have a lot of opportunities. But just looking at his situation from our conversation, he got military family background, so being able to have that discipline as well, like that's gonna be something that's gonna be big. And if continue on the path that he been on, he gonna be something special. Like I think like how Saquon is.
Oh yeah, that's high praise. Saquon, he got the world in his hands right now.
Yeah, that motherfucker. I don't know how they go. They talk about a beastquake. Blood then jumped up and did a 360 spin over a nigga. I said, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, man, dude.
How you even think it? Why do you think like that? You gotta think.
Crazy.
Most running back. you know the crazy part is I don't think running backs think when they run, but to do something
Instinct.
like
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's kind of the complete opposite of you. Obviously, you'd rather run them
that, shit,
over.
I'm gonna run
He's
your
trying
ass.
to, he's
Shit,
trying
I'm
to
gonna
jump
run
over
you
him.
smooth. All that jumping, maybe when I got older or something, but all that jump, I'd rather take my chances with my 10 toes on the ground. You feel me?
Bang them out.
Yeah, but to see that,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That
impressive, man. Yeah, you gotta give it up.
Marshawn Lynch giving
Marshawn,
love.
what running backs do you like watching right now? Who's got your eye?
see, man, this is the thing with me. Like I like watching all the running backs, and it was something that I liked doing, especially while I was playing, because you know we watch a lot of film, and it gave me the opportunity to see, okay, what was working against these teams that we finna play against when we in film study, and it was like, oh, okay, yeah, I see that this guy right here get the ball, you know, patience, and then straight downhill, or this guy get it and take it. So, I mean, I really like watching all of them, and then, I mean, you know, there'll be running backs that, you know, just you can't not pay attention to, like I was saying, Saquon, Derrick Henry. I like the two boys out there in Detroit.
Gibbs and Montgomery.
Yeah, like a boy out there running with Atlanta. And I mean, I'm excited to see Nick Chubb's back out there too. Then you got, you know, the guys, Joe Mixon and Najee.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mean, you know, like I try and watch and see, you know what I mean, what other running backs, what they bring to the game. But I mean, you know, when they say my name or something like that, I try to reach out to them.
Oh, good.
So I can holler at them though, just let them know what's going on. And then I mean, you know, I probably talk different than a lot of professional athletes and shit. So be able to give them some ism or some game. You know what I mean? Some news they could use, some knowledge that they couldn't get in college. So, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
How many guys are reaching out to you?
You said how many?
Yeah, unprompted. You hearing from a lot of guys these days?
I mean, to be honest with you, it don't be a lot of them, but you know what I mean, the ones that do,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, been able to holler. And Jonathan Taylor too.
Yep.
Yeah,
Man.
Yeah, I got you. You started this when we started talking about Buffalo, and I had went back for a Legends game, and they was playing against the Colts, and you know what I mean, I had an interaction with him, and you know what I mean, 'cause I'm like, bro, just do your thing, I like your style, and this boy went off, and I was like, ugh. I mean, I wasn't talking about like right now, bro, but I mean throughout your career, but not today. And he went and had a field day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but Jonathan Taylor, for anybody who play fantasy, that first year with Jonathan Taylor, boy, he gave me a 50-point game.
Yeah, that was my dude.
Got me to third place.
Easy.
Dude. Oh, yeah, Jonathan Taylor.
By the way, that game against the Bills, he had 185 yards and 4 touchdowns.
That's the game then.
I'm telling. Oh man, I feel. I'm like, nah, I didn't mean not.
Yeah, bro. You put that battery in his back.
I'm telling you, not today. But I was like, yeah, that's probably gonna be the last time I talk to the opposing running back when I came to see you. Feel me? Because you know what I mean, because I at that point, like, I got a lot of love for Buffalo. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, Marshawn Lynch is probably one of the funniest human beings alive. So he talked to Ashton Genty. He talked a little bit about him in the beginning, that he just loves his game. He loves to watch him. And these are things definitely that need to be said to these young guys to keep them kind of calm down. A lot of people were talking about Ashton Genty after the first game. They had, pictures of Eddie Lacy saying, oh, that's Ashton Genty because he's fat or whatever. He's just short and stout. He's definitely not fat. He got the ball. He was able to make positive yardage on his runs. He had 4.7 yards a carry, and he was just getting started. That was one of the things I really didn't like about the first game. They only gave him 2 drives, not even that. Like, he took him out in the middle of the second drive. And this guy is a guy that needs to get used to the speed of the NFL game. He needs to get used to taking the thumbs from the opposing defense. He needs to get warmed up. He's a diesel engine. He needs to warm up. He's used to getting a lot of touches in college. He didn't rip every single touch he had for 50 yards. you have to just give him the ball. You keep feeding him the ball, and he's going to get there. He's going to get there. He's big, strong, he's durable. He went out there and did his thing today. I would like to see him try to maybe be a little bit more elusive out in the open field instead of trying to truck somebody and maybe get hurt. But other than that, I think the offensive line on top of that did a much better job of sticking to their blocks. Specifically, Jackson Powers Johnson and Jordan Meredith really did a good job of their combo blocks. I know in a couple of them, Jackson Powers Johnson was able to go to the second level and spring a couple of good runs. Also on the offensive line, Laki Tassi goes out there, and this dude, I don't know, man. This guy, we're not in danger of losing him because he's an international player. So if we don't put him on the squad and we just put him on the practice squad, he goes automatically to the practice squad, unless I'm mistaken. I believe because he's an international player, he's protected, so he can go straight to our practice squad. It doesn't have to worry about the whole waiver process. So I think he's a guy, if we get him in a little bit better shape, he's about 340 right now, 350. Get him maybe closer to 320-ish, change his body composition a little bit, get him a little bit, stronger in the upper body and kind of a little bit smaller around the middle. This dude is going to be a monster. He gets his hands on these guys and pushes them straight back. Geno Smith looked sharp. He had that one miscue when he was throwing to Dante Thornton. But other than that, the first team offense looked fine. Aiden O'Connell, again, I don't like talking bad about players that are fan favorites, but Aiden O'Connell is playing himself out of a backup role. He had another bad interception today, another very bad throw that should have been intercepted that wasn't. Look, man, I said it during the live show or during the watch party. Aiden O'Connell can be very effective as a quarterback. He can be extremely effective as long as everything around him is right. As long as everything around him is clean. He has a clean pocket. The receivers, everything nice and clean. He can play on time. If you can do that, then Aiden O'Connell can play really well for you. Where you get into problems with Aiden O'Connell is when everything isn't 100% right. He doesn't have the physical attributes to be able to overcome that adversity. Even the nice play he made down the field, I believe it was to Jack Besh, the throw to Jack Besh, it was late in a collapsing pocket. He was still throwing it from inside the pocket. It wasn't like someone was hanging on his shirt and he ripped away and he ran down the field and he threw the ball and completed it. No, he was still in the pocket when he made that throw. If you can keep him in the pocket and keep him throwing and upright, he can be effective. But unfortunately, look, I want to say unfortunately, but that's true for most quarterbacks in the NFL. There's a couple out there who just shouldn't be there, okay? But for the most part, if you give any quarterback in the NFL a clean pocket and time to throw, he's going to be able to hurt you. So saying that about Aiden O'Connell isn't giving him a huge vote of confidence. The issue that we're having with Aiden O'Connell is the things that he needs to improve on, he can't. He's not going to be able to be more mobile. He can't be more dynamic with his legs. He just is who he is physically. His physical attributes at 26, 27 years old almost, he is who he is. And he's smart. He's got a nice arm, decent arm. But if everything isn't right for him, he's going to have a lot of problems. And you saw that again today. He played, I said this a year ago and I got demolished, but whatever. Aiden O'Connell plays like a player who has more than what he actually does. And I don't think it's an ego thing. I just think he knows he sees things and he sees the right thing to do, but his physical attributes don't catch up to his mental attributes. In his interception today, that ball should have been thrown a lot sooner for the arm strength that Aiden O'Connell has. If he's going to throw the ball that late, you better be a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen or like a Joe Milton or even like a Geno Smith. Like, you need to have an arm like that to be able to throw the ball that late. Aiden O'Connell doesn't have that arm. He scrambles out of the pocket and looks downfield as if he can get away from rushers. He runs out of the pocket as if he's a guy that has a lot more mobility than he actually does. That's why he gets caught from behind, and he's got hurt a little bit last year because of it. Once he gets out of the pocket, if the throw isn't there right away, throw that sucker into the freaking stands. Live to play another day if you're Aiden O'Connell. Because not only does he not have the foot speed to get away from defenders chasing him down, he is horrendous throwing the ball on the run. Now, I'm not saying that Cam Miller is better. What I'm saying is his attributes allow him to have a larger scope of plays where he can have success. Now, does that mean that when everything is right, he's going to be just as good as Aiden O'Connell or better? No, I'm not saying that. But the measure of a quarterback in large part is what can you do for your team when things around you are going wrong, when the defense is right, when your offensive lineman whiffed on the block, when your protector, the running back, misses on the blitz, when your receiver falls down, you have to go to your next guy. When the secondary fooled you when their pre-snap look in their post-snap read, they fooled you and you have to go somewhere else with the ball. Are you going to be able to do that quickly and have enough arm strength to get it out there? Unfortunately, Aiden O'Connell showed us that he can't do that as consistently as you would want. I'm going to stop on Aiden O'Connell because I don't want to, piss anybody off. But unfortunately, that's just the fact of the matter. He showed again that he doesn't have the physical tools to, let alone, not only be a starting quarterback in this league, but he's being pushed by a rookie who played in the FCS last season. And that's not a joke. That's not hyperbole. That's actually happening. All right. Pete Carroll talked a little bit about the game in his easy for me to say, in his post-game press conference. Let's take a peek.
Looks like friends and family here. Well, first off, I thought this was a really good, hard-fought game from start to finish.
Up, Pete.
And, we had some things that we needed to correct from the practice that we had, and we did. And played the running game very much more with impact than we did in the practice. The adjustments that the coaches made worked out well. The players were able to adapt just in a couple of days' time. And against a really formidable running team that loves to run the football, I thought we did that really well. It was a terrific game, back and forth the whole time. I liked that the first group, got down in the first 2 times they scored points. Geno did just fine. Genty looked tough as hell and had a couple really nice plays. Bounced back from a big hit. I don't know if the other guy did, but he did. And was impressive, I thought. We know Brock can do some stuff. He made a great play on a catch he made too, which was fun. So all in all, we got a lot better today and played a good, solid game all the way through. 2 turnovers again. That's the ball game. We gave him the football back, and that's unfortunate. So nice job by Daniel today, kicking the ball too, knocking all those in. That was great. I know he'd hit the game winner if he had a shot, and so I think it was a good step forward.
Pete, going back to Ash over here, over Ash and Genty, that 3rd and 5 where you ran the ball to him in the it wasn't in the red zone, but it was on their side of the field, and he gets 7 yards. When you can confidently hand it off on a 3rd and 5 down there, and you can get 7 yards, what does that do for the play callers, the offense, and the confidence?
Yeah, it's certainly, Chip had to call it, and he called it, giving him a chance, believing that he could do it, and that the guys up front could take advantage. They're in pass rush modes right there, and so you have to adjust your blocking. But we did a really nice job. But the way he hits the line of scrimmage, he gives you a feel, and I was really fired up about that. And everybody was on the sidelines as well. Got his first touchdown, the whole thing. So, but that helps us all. Yeah.
Pete, could you please discuss your first string offensive line again? Just seems to be coming and gelling together, and just I know you haven't seen the film, but your quick assessment, sir.
Yeah, we're seeing them in practice, make progress, and I thought they carried it to the game, which was great, and we were able to protect Geno and run the ball a little bit in the first half, and it felt like we had reason to be confident in that they're doing their job. I think Jordan Meredith has done a really good job, and I think that's way back, if you remember, that was the competition that we were really focused on to see how that would go, and I think he's really taken that thing over and done a fine job with it. JPJ is battling at the guard spot, and we know we got a real physical guy that's fired up and helps us out as well. So the moves, I think, were well chosen, and I think we're going to benefit from them.
Right here, Pete, in the front. You guys rotate a lot of guys through on that defensive line. How do you feel about the depth of that group and what the first two units showed you today?
Well, there's two ways to look at that. These guys they're really battling, and it is a battle that is not settled yet. And so I think Robbie did a really nice job of making sure that we get a lot of film on everybody and keep moving. I really don't have any conclusion for you on that. I don't want to at this point. I just want to keep them, getting the reps, and they'll do it again next week, and they'll make their pitch for what is the depth chart order and all that. And we'll see what happens. But we like the guys. It's a good group. They're very active. They're athletic. They move well. They play hard, and so now we just need to see where we're going to zero in on it, and the competition goes on.
Pete, you mentioned the turnovers, another interception for Aiden O'Connell. Is that problematic to you at all, or it's three in 2 games?
It wasn't a decision that he makes in practice. He made one there, and the guy was really covered well and threw the ball to him on the breakout, and that's not one that we see him do much, but it's unfortunate.
Coach, back here at the back, I was just kind of wondering, these last 2 games have gone down to the last kick or whatever, some late game situations. How valuable is that in a preseason game as opposed to, say, a 28-3 win or whatever in these preseason games, just to have that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt how valuable those are. All of the situations and all of the times that we get to go back, reinforce the things that we've been teaching about situational football are happening. And we had a Mayday kick again. I haven't had one in 20 years. We had back-to-back weeks where we were ready to Mayday the field goal team on the field, run out there and kick it before the clock runs out. And we didn't have to today, but it's just really important. It's important to feel what it feels like to be in close games and to hang on to it. And the finished part of the game is something I take great pride in and have always about how you do it, and how you get it done and how you execute down the stretch. And so we have a mentality about it, and we're seeing it come to life, on both sides of the football, where you have to execute and do right and outlast the team that you're playing and give credit to those guys. They did a nice job today.
I reiterate, I know you haven't seen the film, but Caillou Blue just continues to stack good performances upon each day. Will you talk about his immersion, please?
Yeah, no, I can't give you much on what happened in the game today until I see the film, but he's had about 10 days now of really competitive practices and played well against the Niners, played well last week. He's just making a real bid for the playing time. And so it's like, we didn't see that in the springtime, and we didn't see it even in early camp. And then it's like the switch went on, and he's taken off with it. I'm really fired up for him. That's those kinds of stories I love to see guys come out of a backup situation and then work their way through it and start to make a statement. We started him today, and we thought he deserved to start today, and I wanted to see what he looked like with the first group out there. And again, I don't know how he played, but I think you're telling me that he did okay.
The first team offense obviously didn't play a whole lot, but 2 deep shots to Dante Thornton, one that was pretty close to happening. Is it a positive just to get that on film so that other teams?
No, positives when you catch it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but we're trying. We're trying to get a feel for him. Geno's trying to sync it up and get right. We didn't quite match it up right. There's a couple things I have thoughts about that, but I want to see the film again. But we're trying to use him and see if he can come through for us. Okay.
Pretty straightforward from Pete here. The thing that we got to focus on is the areas that were improved were areas that were focused on. One area that did not improve needs major improvement, and that's the secondary. Not only in tackling, but in coverage. We lost a lot of people off the secondary. Our 2 starting corners, we lost a safety. Actually, our two starting safeties, like basically our whole secondary that started the beginning of the year last year is gone. All right. When you look at it from that perspective, Epps, Merrick, Jack Jones, and Jacorian Bennett, those guys are all somewhere else. Also, Nate Hobbs. These guys are going to take some time to gel together. We have some good players in the secondary. They just need to gel together. We need to find the right. Now, look at it from this perspective. Once we found the right players for the offensive line, Colton left tackle, Parham left guard, Meredith at center, JPJ at right guard, and DJ Glaze at right tackle. Once we got those guys in and got them to gel, they performed much better the next week. We got to do the same thing with the secondary. We got to get the right guys in here to gel with the linebackers. I felt Landon Roberts did a nice job on a run play. He stuffed it late. There was also a lot of good plays, a lot of plays that weren't. I'm going to show up on the stat sheet, but plays that again, Jamal Adams made really well. He did get that penalty, that late hit, the roughing the passer. That just can't happen. He was just not thinking. I don't think, but ultimately, I think the linebacking core is going to be much better than people thought in the beginning of the season. We need to get that continuity going on all three levels, especially on the second and third levels with the linebackers playing with the secondary out in coverage. It needs to get better. I think it will get better. I think it's going to be a conceded effort to really nail down the starters, at least in the secondary, and really put them in positions where they understand what's being asked of them. They can replicate it during game day. All right, guys. So bad guys lose 22-19 on a last-second field goal. It was kind of a bummer. Cam Miller had a chance to drive to get a field goal opportunity. He turns the ball over. They get a couple of 49ers get a first down and make a couple of yards, and are able to kick a late field goal to win the game. It's a shame. It's a bummer, but it's not earth-shattering. Okay, I think a lot of things that we wanted to happen are looking much better. Brock Bowers looked like a beast. Our first team offense looks nice. The first team defense in the secondary, they need some work. It needs some work. We're going to see. We made a lot of improvement against the run this last week. Hopefully, we can make those improvements against the pass against the Arizona Cardinals next week, next Saturday. Also, I want to remind you guys, we got the new the Shield Society. It's a new membership for this channel. It's $4.99 a month. What does that give you? What does $4.99 a month give you? It gives you the opportunity to have a private watch party with me every single game. Also, you have an opportunity to join me on the show and actually with your phone be on the show with me and ask your questions. Also, whenever I drop a video, let's say I make a video tonight and it's going to drop tomorrow morning, right? That video is available to you as soon as I drop it. As soon as I put it into YouTube, it's available. You can watch it before anybody else. That's another plus there. I'm going to give you some more perks too, but those are just the perks for right now. It's only $5. Don't be cheap. You know, I'm giving you guys extra things that other people. I need to make it exclusive. I can't just do it for everybody because I want to have a nice core. I told you guys from the very beginning. From the very beginning, I said this. I want to create a community for Raider Nation to come and be able to vent, to be able to celebrate. That community can only be a small group of us. It can grow definitely to be a very big one, but for right now, we need to start it as we go. And right now, I want to start it just an intimate few with us to be able to get forward and make this going. All right, guys, that's my time for today. I really appreciate you guys. I want to make sure you guys know how much I appreciate you guys watching. All the content I put out every single day is for you guys. If you haven't done so already, it really helps me out. If you were to go and like, comment, and subscribe. Derek, man, I appreciate you, dog. Appreciate you. Go. It's in my description. Go ahead if you can. I really appreciate you guys, man. All this I do it for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the watch party today. Again, it's not a it's not something that's just like me giving you like a play-by-play. I'm not doing that. I'm watching the game with you. So sometimes I'm going to go stretches where I'm just watching the game. I'm not talking, but it's like you're sitting next to me watching the game, and I'm telling you what I think about certain plays and things that we need to do and things that we're doing well and things that we need to get better at. Stuff like that. I just want to set it up front. It's not like a replacement to the play-by-play on the TV. That's not what I'm doing. Okay, just a watch party. We're watching it together. Also, if you can share it to your socials, man, this would be great. I really appreciate you guys. I want to create this community. We're steaming towards the start of the regular season. That is going to be when we're going to explode. And that's what Raider Nation is going to really find out and come together in Raiders versus the world, because once we leave here, it's everybody against us. And I think that's just how we like it. All right, guys, that's my time. Till next time, everybody. Peace.